Oh my God, did you read the Instagram thing that I sent you talking about Gen Z doctors?
No.
It was like just all these little like snippets of different things that people have said about having a Gen Z doctor. The first one is a video and it's hilarious, but then I'll read you a couple of them.
Okay.
I had to get an ultrasound and my Gen Z ultrasound tech was like, quote, girl, your uterus is cute.
I
I
love this generation so
I felt so
much.
bonita, she says. And then here's a whole bunch more. Another person. I had a Gen Z OBGYN and I told her I got my tubes cut and she said, quote, yes, queen, no more kids. Another one. I had a Gen Z NP at urgent care recently. He was like, it's probably the flu. How many days do you want me to write you off of work? 5 more? Another one. I had a Gen Z nurse tell me in the ICU that my pancreas had left the chat.
Oh my God. I opened Canva the other day and Curly had made something and it just said the title of it was just vibes, period. Like,
Here's more. I have a Gen Z doctor now. He went over my file and said, holy shit, girl, how are you still alive?
oh my God.
I love that one. I love how unserious they are. I got a Gen Z phlebotomist, and she told me she was going to take a second vial of blood so she'd have something for lunch later.
That's awesome.
My first Gen Z doctor, I was telling her about how I was anxious, and she said she was team live, laugh, Lexapro herself.
Oh my God.
I
Live,
think
laugh, Lexapro.
this is last one. I had a Gen Z doctor ask if I was morally opposed to lying to my insurance company so we could get a procedure covered.
I love them. I love
Yeah,
them.
they might be the best. I need to
They might
find
be
a
the
Gen Z
best.
doctor.
You need
Oh
a
my
Gen Z
God.
friend and a Gen Z doctor.
Yeah, I do need a Gen Z friend. Although I
They
probably
already
won't understand half of what they're saying.
No, I know. Oh my gosh. I saw a video of a guy that was like he's a language professor, and I don't know why he was speaking to a group of high school students, but he was. And did you see that? And the whole
Uh-huh.
thing, it was so good. Like, wow.
Their vocabulary is so unique.
And there's so much of it.
Oh my God, I know. It's extensive,
So many
but
words.
it's so they can talk and we have no idea what they're saying.
Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, exactly.
Kudos to you guys. We just did Pig Latin as Gen X.
Um, do you know, we just watched this show on Netflix called Sirens, and it has Julianne Moore and Kevin Bacon in it. It's really good. I recommend. But they did some Pig Latin in there, so it just reminded me of
Oh
that.
my God. We thought we were clever with Pig Latin, and now these kids have created an entire new vocabulary with like
Exactly.
complete new words. Oh, they're clever.
They are clever.
Well, what should we chat about?
Um, what was that thing that that person sent us in the email?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, yes, yes. She wanted to know. All right, so she listened to our podcast when we were talking about cracks. She said you were talking about the door being cracked open versus wide open or closed, and also about the judgment being what makes a groove good or bad in the way you view it. I thought about all those together. I know I judge myself for being indecisive, and sometimes maybe keeping the door cracked is not wrong or bad. Like if you need more information, not just feeling like more information would make the decision safer, but really having a piece of information you are waiting on. In that case, maybe you wouldn't just shut the door and check back on it. In that case, maybe you wouldn't just shut the door and check back on it later. You'd keep it cracked. So once you have that info, you can decide. If that's truly the situation, I don't judge myself for it. It's neutral, right? I just have a missing piece that will help me determine whether or not to act. And I don't feel stuck because I'm not judging myself as being bad or indecisive. I just thought it was interesting to consider the judgment angle with the door metaphor.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. And I think what she's saying is right. It's like some like it's almost like another dimension to the whole piece of it, which is, and then you go, okay, do I have enough information to even be standing at the door? Like,
Well, I thought about this. I read it when I was driving, and
I'm sure you stopped at a stoplight to read it.
yeah, of course. No, I wasn't driving down the highway at 80 reading this. No, I wasn't. I think I actually read it at the gas station and then was thinking
Okay,
about
and
it
then
when
was
I
thinking
was
about
continuing the drive. And what I remember like kind of popping in was she's not wrong, but also it is not, it doesn't matter if the door is open or closed in that situation because there is always new information coming.
right.
You're always waiting on, like, a situation is always evolving. So to you don't always know if you have all the information or if you don't have all the information. Or
Right.
sometimes you even think you have all the information, but you don't have all the information, and there's no way that you would know that you don't have all the information. So they're like,
Yeah, because you could hold open indefinitely.
exactly. So they're like, it's still important to, in the moment where you are, to have the door to make a decision, door open or door closed. And even if you're like, if there's more information that I need to make this decision, you would have the door open for the
I think,
information to come in.
well, what I was, so, okay, so when I was listening to you describe or read that, what I was thinking was actually like the crack in the door is, I don't know how to say it if I'm going to describe it right, of course. It's like this package of information that you can't fucking describe. But it's like, and we've had this conversation, you and I, recently about something one of us was doing. But oh, it's almost like kind of back to what we were talking about with manifesting, which is like the crack is almost like not being specific enough.
Here's
Like
here's
it's,
yeah.
God, I'm sorry, I don't know. I can't
No,
describe it. You say.
here's what I hear or like feel when we talk about the crack versus a door being open or closed. This is it. It's like, well, maybe I don't know something.
It's like non-committal.
Yeah, it's just like it's still a crack because you have no idea. So it's not, I'll make the decision when I get more information. That's clear.
That's clear.
What we're talking about with the crack is you don't want to make a decision,
Right.
or you're afraid of making the decision, or you're afraid of making the wrong decision.
Or you're trying to hold all the possibilities open when you're like not really admitting that you actually want one specific opportunity or option. And that's what I'm thinking too. It's like the crack is if you like what she's saying is like I may need another piece of information, and the energy behind like I'm trying to make this decision. I can feel there's something that I don't know that I need to know or that hasn't come in to me yet or that I'm not aware of yet. And so I'm putting this decision on hold to wait for that piece of information to come in.
Door
Like that
wide
energy
open.
is so clear and aligned and the door is
Exactly.
open
Yep.
because you know you're wide ass open waiting for that piece of information. And then when that comes, you're going to know it somehow at your like core level. You'll be like, "Oh, there it is." And then you go, "Okay, now I can make the decision." That's clear. The crack is more of the wishy-washy. One foot
Yeah.
in, one foot out. I haven't really committed to it because I'm not sure. What you said it the other day, you were like, what did you say? I'm not going to compromise. No more compromise. Because
Yeah.
the crack is a compromising energy.
It is. And I remember when we first got this information about the crack and the door open or closed, that one of the examples that they gave was a boyfriend or like a significant other. Shocking. You're either in the relationship, door wide open, or you're over the relationship, door closed. Or you're like, well, I'll just sort of let this guy or girl hang around until something else better comes along. Door cracked, not a good place to be.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
it's just shitty energy.
And
A
it's
cracked
not fair
door
to
is
the other
shitty energy.
person. Right.
No, it's
so
not.
I think what she's saying isn't really quite like maybe we weren't explaining it very well because like I think
Yeah.
what she's saying is like, yeah, you might know there is information coming or that you just, but sometimes you just have to decide like now is the time to make the decision. I got to go for it.
Yeah, I think maybe what came across is when you think of the doors is like door open is a yes, door closed is a no. We're not saying that. Door closed is a no. Door open is I'm open.
Or door closed as this decision has been made.
Correct. Yeah. But like a door crack is not I can't make a decision yet. Door cracked is I don't have the balls to make a decision, or I'm not in my integrity to make a decision,
Yeah.
or I want it all and I just want the universe to give it all to me, and that's really shady to ask for, so I'm just going to leave the door cracked.
Or I can't admit to myself what I really want.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
like door
sometimes you're
cracked is
like
just gross.
afraid of saying like this is actually what I really want, and you're afraid of like the consequences of that deep down. So
Yeah.
you're kind of leaving it wishy-washy. Yeah. Yeah, this is good. I like it.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of the other conversation we had about, which we kind of started in on the manifesting. Well, so okay, I'm getting this apartment, and the apartment people were like, "Oh, we had someone that was working here that kind of screwed something up, and actually you can't move in on the day you thought you were moving in, so you need to like move in a month later." And Candy, I was talking to Candy about it because I was like, "Oh, I kind of like
But they also gave you the option to move in on the same day on a different floor.
on a different floor." Which I originally had thought I wanted to be on the fourth floor, but then when I got this first floor unit, then I kind of wanted that. But then I'm like, now I'm going back and forth. But Candy pointed out, she's like, I hate that spiritual bullshit sometimes. You're like, is this a sign that I'm not supposed to be on the first floor?
Oh my God,
And
it's a sign.
it's a sign. But what it was the opportunity to revisit the decision
Yeah.
about which floor. And but just to not like, and we did the bubble, and you were like, literally someone just fucked something up.
Yeah.
And now you have the decision to look at it again and decide if you want to be on the first or fourth floor. But it's not like a sign that things are going badly or that that's not the right decision. But you did say, what did you say? You probably can tell this story better because you were in the bubble.
Well, I don't know for sure what you were going to say, but what I remember like thinking as the information was coming in is the that quote by, I think it's Paulo Coelho, who is always like, the universe is always conspiring to give you what you're asking for. And if we're not clear about what we're asking for, or if we're on the fence about what we're asking for, or if we're
Having a
going back
crack
and forth
about
about,
what we're
yeah,
asking for.
then the universe is still going to try to give us all of those things. Because it's like, oh, wait, she wanted the fourth floor. Oh, wait, she wanted the first floor. Oh, wait, she wanted the fourth floor. Oh, wait, she wanted the first floor. And it's like, just like it's working in motion to give you those things. So while you made the decision first floor, you didn't have a fourth floor option. So what it felt like was coming back around is the universe being like, okay, like now here's your fourth floor option. Like you do, like just what do you want? And so what I felt in the moment when we were getting the downloads, and there was a lot, it was very nuanced about manifesting in a way that I very much enjoyed, was it's still ultimately our human decision.
Yeah.
And in some spiritual circles, the way stuff is taught, it's almost like we're giving our decision power away. It's like, give me an apartment. I want an apartment. And so the universe is just going to deliver whatever apartment is available. But we still have to decide, does that apartment meet my needs? Can I afford it? Is it big enough? Is it too small? Whatever. Like we still have a role to play. We're still co-creating. And I think sometimes that gets lost. I was talking to you, this also came up because we were talking about when I manifested the yoga studio. And I literally, all I was ever thinking about was, I just own a yoga studio. I put no more effort into it other than pretending that I owned a yoga studio. There was no thought around what it looked like, how big it was, where it was at, if it had windows, like nothing. It was just yoga studio. So when the universe delivered me the opportunity to buy a yoga studio, I didn't even stop to ask myself, does this meet the criteria of what I'm looking for? Because I didn't have any criteria outlined. So I just bought the yoga studio. Now, was it the right move? Maybe. Could there have been a better move? Possibly. Could I have been involved in co-creating something other than just a generic ass yoga studio? Yeah. And in hindsight, I probably should have, because it just sort of bled money. Like, it wasn't like I want a yoga studio that makes money.
Right.
I just got a yoga studio that, ironically enough, came with really bad parking and not a huge base of clients. So,
It was a
like,
cute space though.
oh my God, it was so adorable. Um, but I think what we were getting in the bubble was more of that. It really does matter what you're asking for. And when you're going back and forth on things, like in a lot of cases, those intentions have been set in motion.
Yeah.
So you are probably going to have a decision point. And sometimes that decision point is uncomfortable because it feels like we wrapped it up, but then another option comes along. And depending on our conditioning and programming, now all of a sudden we start to doubt ourselves like, oh my God, did I make the right decision? Which is not a bad thing to reconsider, but it doesn't mean you made the wrong decision. It doesn't mean the universe is telling you that this is better. It still means that you still have to do like your human work of what do I really want? Which kind of goes back to the door, the cracks. It's like, do you know what you want?
Right. Well, and I think the thing that came out of that conversation the other day was because we used to always be like, oh, do you want a boyfriend? Like just any old boyfriend, just a boyfriend? Like, what does that mean? But then we were like, the most obvious thing, Candy said it was, you're going to the mall to get a shirt. A shirt. Like,
To the mall where there are a lot of stores, or used to be a lot of stores.
right. So it depends on what mall. But it's like, do you need it for winter or summer, for yourself or someone else? Are you dressed up? Like, do you not dressed up? Like, what is it like? Are you going to Lululemon or Athleta? Are you trying to go to Macy's? Like, what are you looking
Yeah.
for?
Is it made of
colorful?
polyester?
Is
Is
it
it made
black
of
and
cotton?
white? Right. Like,
Yeah, there are a million options that you have to get clear about before the universe can deliver it to you.
yeah, before you can find the right shirt. But the other thing they layered in there was which I had never really thought about this or heard this before, but it's like the priority.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
So
that
what
part.
is the most important thing? Like you were even asking me, like, do you even want to get an apartment? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes. Okay. So then it's like, you start going through, well, like there's noise, there could be noise in the first floor, so you're at that risk, but then you're having to weigh all the benefits
Right.
of this. And it's a bigger decision because it's rent versus a shirt at the mall, but it's the same kind of concept where you have to go, what's the number one priority? What's the secondary priority? What's a third priority? Like what would be nice? Because you can throw what would be nice on that list. But it's also kind of like when you were looking for your house in Asheville, the first time that your real estate agent was like, just I was moving with Candy to Asheville where she's looking for a house and she's like, we're like, we want to live out like, out in the middle of nowhere, like in the mountains. She's like, oh, okay. Do you? She is from Michigan. We are from Indiana. She knows. She's like, why don't you guys go out and drive by that house? You have 2 hours until it gets dark. And we were like, what?
That's
We
weird.
drove out to the middle of nowhere to like a dirt road with leaves all over it to this driveway. And you had to like crane your neck around in the car to look up the driveway to see the house. And we were both like, hell no.
It was so straight up.
But we didn't. But it's like what I was going to say earlier was like, you almost sometimes need the experience to know what you don't want.
It's true. It is true.
But you can imagine yourself in the experience sometimes
Right.
to like understand it a little bit better.
Yeah. And ultimately, like using the house example, I had to get really clear about what was super important. And then the moment, right? Because I had a laundry list of things that I want. And sure, it would be nice to have those things, but am I willing to wait? And am I
Right.
willing to pay for all of those things? And if I have to put a priority list together of what's the most important thing, then I did that. And then the house like immediately appeared.
Right. And and you had some things you were like, absolutely no compromise on a fence with the fenced in yard because you've got two big dogs.
Yeah.
So when you
So,
get to that no compromise list, then it's clear.
right.
Then the door is wide open.
And it's super easy for the universe to deliver.
Right.
It
What
can't shut.
about like What were you going to say?
I was
Sorry.
going to say, I can't shove the package that you want through the door if it's cracked. The door has to be wide open or the door has to be closed, and it can set a little gift for you, and you can decide if you want to open the door and look at the gift or not.
That's hilarious. That wraps this episode of One Card Shy. Did you love it? Leave us a review, share it with your friends, and sign up for our monthly crown straightener. Bonus, you'll get our free Claim Your Crown guide when you subscribe.
And be sure to find us on Instagram and check out our website. Both are rainworld.co. All the links are below. See you next time, Queens.